Good fucking tea right there. Ugh. I don't know what's going on right here. Let's get this day started with this. Load up this new account. Let's say exactly. Fun. I hate. Love the new account. I hate that shit with a passion. Wow. There you go, boys. Take this Vlad. I'm gonna take Vlad top. I could do Vayne top. I don't know. I don't see any AP, so we're gonna do this. Like I say, I got no fucking points, man. It's a struggle. They just banned my champions, so I'm mad I don't show you banned champions. Oh, up here. Okay. So they didn't ban my champions. Who's broken right now? Turn this fucking heater down. Oh, please.
Into the fray. Let's go. Let's go.
The cycle of life and death continues. We will live. They will die.
I don't know. I don't know if I still want to go Vlad.
Everybody dies. Some just need a little
All
help.
the world on one arrow.
Let us hunt those who have fallen to darkness.
The heart is the strongest muscle.
We'll bring them pain.
Fuck it.
The rivers will run red.
I say fuck it.
I'm no hero. Just a yordle with a hammer.
I say fuck it. I say fuck it. Oh my god, really? The fuck, dude?
This matchup is really not fun for the first 20 minutes of the game. In terms of difficulty, I'd rate this a 4 out of 5 Teemos. This matchup is difficult because Vladimir can face trade into Nasus the entire laning phase without being punished. Also, Vladimir is a ranged AP, so Wither doesn't do much to him. He can also constantly harass you under turret and in lane. Against Vladimir, you will want to start Crystalline Flask and 3 health potions. In lane, you will only want to walk up to a creep to last hit it. Try your best not to eat free damage, unless you're going for a creep. Stay healthy in this lane. Vladimir can easily dive you under turret with his pool and get away with it. Expect to use teleport early on and frequently throughout the laning phase to make the lane more tolerable. Be prepared to buy a lot of health potions as well. Against Vladimir, you will want to rush Spectral's Cowl as soon as possible, and then complete it into Spirit Visage. At around level 12, so long as Vladimir isn't heavily fed and you aren't denied a significant amount of stacks, you can begin to all-in him. At this point, you win the matchup so long as you can force these fights. Here are some examples of item paths that I go when I play against Vladimir.
Right. You say so, man. These fucking queue times are ridiculous, man. Fuck, it's hot in here. Jesus. Freaking hot in here, man. Hot as fuck. I don't even know right now. It's almost fucking hot. The fuck, man? Fucking ridiculous, man. I guess I should fix this overlay. I'm tired of looking at it. I'm really disliking Windows 10, trying to delete everything. Jesus. about fucking sick of this shit. Later, bitch. Fucking Windows Defender, man. Took care of that damn problem. Ah, man, I hate Windows Defender, man. That shit just does whatever the hell it wants, man. Like a cheap whore. It just does whatever the fuck it wants. Why is this shit taking so goddamn long? 15-minute queue times? Fuck out of here. I'm on a 3-game losing streak, yay. So exciting. Fuck my life, dude. I'm gonna go with that, I think. This is ridiculous.
In terms of difficulty, I'd rate this a 4 out of 5 Teemos. This matchup is difficult because Vladimir can face trade into Nasus the entire laning.
I don't need this on him. I guess we're gonna watch the fucking game.
Lucian now that MF has been nerfed significantly. Kindred was obviously still there. She gets banned out, so now the blue team here, H2K, they can start looking. Maybe we want a power pick in the jungle, maybe a strong support.
First pick Trundle. I mean, that's bold. You know, we knew Forgiven is the big Lucian player. There are several, but he has been the biggest one. And maybe it's not really first pick worthy, but you got to expect if Giants don't answer this, if they don't take it for Audrey, it's going to go into his hands.
Yeah, I really like the Trundle Lucian lane overall as well. Forgiven can always dash in. Then you have the pillar blocking, setting up for really good trades. Just a strong laning support here that in the end is still a flex pick that can counter some of these tank top laners, because there was a lot of talk about going double carry, single tank top. Well, Trundle can be an answer to that.
Yeah, so Cool will go for a very, very standard jungle pickup in the Rex side. And now we have that flex pick Rise. We have seen it top. Definitely could see it mid. We'll see if it does, well, where it ends up going. But they've got time for this one. And then, you know, the Elise is still a very powerful choice. Jankos, oftentimes called the First Blood King, known for that Lee Sin. But Elise is a very powerful pickup in his hands as well. In most junglers, but especially
Forgiven.
So we're doing something here.
Here, tribute to Gambit, where he is pretty much put on Corki duty all the time, instead of playing the more fabled hard carries. First I'll pick really big power spike on level 6. It could still be Corki mid 2. Faker played it, so therefore Rio could easily, always known as the other one, you know, the other Zed, maybe he becomes the other Corki. Who knows?
Well, we'll have to wait on that one, but we do have a Graves pickup, which of course we've been seeing as a very strong jungle choice. Although even the last year, Forgiven was known to play that as well. But I do think that's where it's heading. The Corki, we still don't know. We could be in for a triple AD carry comp.
Yeah, it has to go into the jungle, and that kind of makes makes more sense with the Corki pick, because Corki obviously adds another layer of heavy damage.
What? You mean we actually might get a game right now?
That's probably why they opted for the Corki. I'm a big fan of Graves jungle. Not as big of a fan as Deficio. I'm more just maybe like a mini fan, but I think it's an incredibly strong pick.
I think you're definitely right, but you definitely have to use it very early on. We know Jankos is very good at getting this early pressure in there. Now that means the answer, they may take the AD carry for themselves. The Braum Lucian lane, if that gets locked in, and it does.
So far, I do like the new champ select.
Yeah, very powerful.
Because you,
really, really good combo, mostly because
you do
it's so
get
easy
your
to stack the Braum passive with it.
You do seem to get
AD carry, but more importantly,
your lane
will be fundamental
you want,
in
which
this
is
team
pretty
of block
nice.
damage. You can soak up rockets, and more
Pretty
importantly, you
nice.
can deny the entire damage output from the Graves. So we'll have to keep our eyes on Godfred if he can use that to peel. Already decent peel here from Giants. Rek'Sai and Braum together should be enough of a front line to allow more carries to operate in the back line. They'll need some time to get that Ryze scaling. Hopefully it's going to the mid lane. I'm not the biggest fan of Ryze top because it's very vulnerable.
That's a real question. Again, we haven't seen Adam. And you know, you got to look at this other side of H2K in top lane with Leauge, arguably one of the strongest top laners left in, I mean, you can say Kabuchar's up there as well, so as of course, but Otawame is somebody that you really can't overlook. He can definitely step up and do big things, especially on low resources.
So low Corki mid, Corki AD carry, Ahri locked in the mid, and then still a double flex opportunity here. Shen can go both support and top, so if a super tank gets locked in for the top lane, Trundle can actually be swapped to top, and Shen support can still work more than fine. So definitely a good drafting phase here from H2K with enough mid-game power, and that's really what you want to be in this meta game, just mid-game power, because that's where you can really make a look at. At the other side, Giants is still flexing that Rise around, so they're deciding where he goes there.
What they'll have to deal against. Will Adam be enabled with this Rise pickup, or will Pepinero, or X-Peppy, as he's now being called, be the one to take that, and what do they answer with? They don't want to pick a super tanky top for those stats dealing, but and they have plenty of. They really do have pretty fun. Like
they need more damage. Yeah, they definitely need some more damage. So we're looking at some mid laners here. Maybe a Frost Music lane, Hello Blanc could technically come out. Kind of hard to play with Blanc. Shendo definitely wasn't thinking about Kennen.
No, it's usually not on everybody's minds. But if they do take that, that should go to the top. It is locked. And it's all to see if that's what they go with.
So range their ass into the Shen, could bully him out of the lane. So
You gotta be fucking kidding me, man.
For Adam could definitely
Holy
do some bad things to H2K
fuck.
here. So if they can get Adam snowballing, it's a good thing because he can bully out the Shen. If they leave him alone, he still adds a lot of teamfight power. So Giants definitely looking for a team-fight composition. Braum incredibly strong, Rek'Sai has good peel. They have a wealth of crowd control effects that then the Rise can operate in the middle.
Yeah, this is definitely a solid composition for Giants. It could be a strong lane in the top lane. It's definitely a strong lane in the bottom. Obviously, Xpepi has dealt with a lot of really wonky and lopsided matchups in the past, and he's tended to be the one that comes out on top and carries, but he can also be a bit of a wild man, going in too deep, and Ryu knows how to take advantage of situations like that. And on Ahri, you know, he had a couple of beast games last year. Probably was very outspoken, saying Ryu is the hidden carry, the one that no one expects to step up and just deliver the pain.
Yeah, looking at some interesting gank opportunities here, but we'll get into that later. Coaches shake hands. We're ready to load onto the Rift.
Yes, indeed we are, and you can see Ryu's already going to be looking to go very aggressive. It's the way the Ahri does it, but we want to know what you guys have to say. Why don't you go ahead and hit us up on Twitter, hashtag H2KWin or hashtag GIAWin, as we get ready to load up into our third game of the day. Action starting hot and heavy, and you guys at home, we want to hear from you, so why don't you let us know. As we get ready to start it up, Giants, H2K on the board. Let's get going.
So yeah, the junglers will be very important this game. If Ku can find an opening, snowball a lane, because the combination of some snare from Rise and then an instant flash knockup from Pepinero, or Xpepi as he's called right now, could be enough to kill Ryu. As opposed to Jankos, he's just bringing a lot of damage to these lanes, so you'll need the laners to provide the crowd control effect themselves.
And they definitely have a lot to go on. You know, Ryu's got the charm, Odoamne's got the dash. If they start doubling up early and making big plays, taking advantage of that pre-level 6 teleport, the summoner spell one that is, they can definitely bring the pain to Giants, who are starting to step a little bit forward. They have instigated this lane swap, or at least part of one. Audrey's up in the top
Very
side,
dangerous.
but Godfred's in the bottom. Forgiven is gonna check into some pain.
And I think
He is gonna get flashed away, rather. Peppy pops his
kinda
ghost,
early
maybe a
to-
little bit too late, and Forgiven will make it out.
Peppy started snare. You should never start snare if a Braum is stacking passives, and more importantly, should not do it until after the Braum passive gets proc, because yeah, this is gonna be a rough laning phase. Pepinero starting with a snare right now. Ryu should have actually the ability to bully that right now. And something we want to talk about now that the flash is down and the heal are Forgiven, it may prompt a reaction in the bot lane from Godfred and Audrey if they actually end up laning 2v2.
Yeah, this
looking
is
at a
weird.
weird swap. That's something you can do against an inexperienced team like Giants is, yeah,
There we go.
lane swap,
Godfred's
but
gonna
they're
come.
initiating it themselves. That's actually peculiar. Putting Adam on a ranged harass champion and then initiating lane swap yourself, forcing the lane swap with a solo queue top laner. I'm not sure if that's the right approach for Giants.
Yeah, this is definitely really curious. Forgiven Vander on the bottom side will go ahead and grab the Krugs early on, and they can get back without any worry of losing the farm. Yanko's hanging on the bottom side to start this thing off, but I don't know if Giants are looking for the lane swap preemptively and trying to
The only thing that
preempt
makes
it or
sense,
what?
the only thing that makes sense is that because Forgiven lost his summoners and he has a tough matchup against him, Giants thought that H2K would default to the lane swap in the top lane
I don't know if
even
Giants
more,
are
but
looking
right
for
now,
the lane swap
Forgiven
preemptively
losing the
trying to
heal and the flash actually does not matter. So he doesn't get any impact because he'll be farming for the majority of the early game. However, Xpepi does lose the impact from using the Ghost and starting with the W early in the lane.
Yeah, so Ryu shouldn't have too much trouble there. Not much of a CS lead, but obviously they've just gotten in there, and we can already see that there is a bit of a roam going on. Odoamne looking to maybe try for a fast push with the help of Vander. Since there's no one here to stop this, this should be one of those good old 3v or 4v0s.
Yeah, you even want to speed up the 3v0 even more because the way the jungler experience got changed. Right now, junglers, they still get full experience from the camps, but laners not so much. So an extended double jungler where you're sharing is just less efficient. So the quicker you can get your top laner in that 3-man scenario and you can bounce that wave back, that's what you want right there.
Sad Yankos.
Experiencing some difficulties here with the patience bar on the go.
There we go, gets it that time. So because H2K started this one a lot sooner, Giants took a little bit more time. They should be able to finish it up faster, but it's still relatively even, and the question is then, do they go back and reset after the fact, or do they just keep pushing their luck? I feel like a team like Giants might just do that.
Yeah, definitely want to push in, reset, bounce the way to your top laner, get him ahead, and then equal out. What we've seen in the LCK over in Korea is that the lane swap starts like this. Teams swap around to the other side. Both towers tier 1 go down on one side of the map, and then a very slow mid-game starts where teams are struggling to get anything done. LCK analysts predict that to happen every game. I think the next step then is really deep vision, and maybe H2K can generate that and start opening up the map that way. I do think Giants will struggle if that scenario actually comes to play.
Yeah, especially considering H2K have all the tools for a really ridiculous mid-game team. If they can get off on the right foot and not get set too far behind and into a really stale situation, as Rio doesn't know what's coming for him. Ku comes in, but he's out. Lands the charm too onto Xpeppy. Nice.
Yeah, and definitely Ryu knows what to expect here. If you look at the bottom lane and the top lane, there's no way a jungler is going to interact with any of these lanes, so the only place ganks can happen is in the mid lane. If then Pepinero or Xpeppy starts playing up a little farther ahead, Ryu basically smells the game
pretty easily, and there's a lot of escapes that they have too. Even though Ryu's only level 4, once he hits 6, that's not going to be as much of an issue as long as he hangs on to his ultimate, unless he goes right for Peppy's face, and still fairly even as he pushes the way forward himself. We start to see some semblance of normalcy. That's your basic lane swap. Nothing else to see here with a couple of towers pushed early. 4.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, look at Jankos. He's going to assist his bottom lane, which is now top lane, to really zone off Adam off that tower. Adam level 3 on the cannon with teleport. And Dorn's Blade, incredibly stunted build path. So Giants opting for this lane swap puts them pretty far behind.
This could definitely not turn out too well for them, but now we've got a 2v2 in both sides. A bigger wave for Giants, but they definitely took a little longer to get there. You can also see Jankos working his way through the Giants' topside jungle, so teams are just trading back and forth right now, giving each other a sort of gentleman's agreement as Odoamne comes and joins the top side.
One thing that does work for Giants though, these accelerated gold gains from
Get your cops, Law.
down does help Pepinero get to his
Show
items
up.
quicker, and he obviously wants to scale as quickly as he can.
Yeah, that'll definitely help out Pepinero, but again, H2K, if they can group up after these outer towers are gone and they can start forcing things, they have the tools. Once they hit the power spikes, it's not quite mid-game yet, to be able to get some serious damage on the Giants and shut the Rise down early.
No, that's a very good point, Pyra, because if you put the Graves and the Corki and the Ahri together in the mid lane, combine that with the zone that comes from a Trundle pillar, it will be incredibly hard for the Giants lineup to wave clear. The only reliable wave clear that they have is Lucian's Culling on level 6. Other than that, Rise will actually be out of position trying to clear those waves, so the siege that H2K have on that third middle tower that will eventually open up the map will be incredibly hard to deal with for the Giants.
I feel like a lot of the emphasis now that the outers are all gone should be placed in that middle side. A lot of towers taken early on with the pushes back and forth. Jankos is already motioning up towards that side of the river, trying to get the wards in for himself too.
Yeah, they're setting up the wards right now. We're not quite there yet. Obviously, we need the rockets on the Corki. We need the level 6 on the Graves. We need the threat of an instant burst. And then obviously we need the flank squad because Giants' response will be an immediate engage. Cannon flank TP, Ku flash knockup, snares, concussive blows. That's the things you're looking for from the side of Giants.
Still stacking pretty heavily on this bottom side. Vander and Jankos hanging out and just continuing to own this jungle. Ku has been focused more on trying to catch Ryu out, but now that he's got Spirit Rush available, he's going to immediately use it. Dashing sideways, they've got the teleport. Maybe he looks to turn onto Peppy. Godfrey is there. Oh no, maybe didn't want to complete this one, but he gets a double taunt off nonetheless, and another teleport comes in. This time from Adam, everyone backs away, but 2 TPs spent on both sides.
Yeah, normally if you get that level 6 mid laner action going on, the top laner joins in on level 6 as well, but Odoamne level 4 instantly has to flash out. Good reaction from Ryu though. Dodges. You have to immediately use ulti, otherwise the flash knockup could have been a one combo exchange right there.
Much lower cooldown though than that teleport, so he won't have too bad of a time of it. You can see Audrey pushing in on the top side versus Odo as he gets back to that point. Ryu perfectly fine in this mid lane. He's going to be so hard to gank. This guy's reaction times is just super crazy. And Ku, well, we don't really know how he's going to perform. That's what we talked about. He is one of the big question marks. This is his first LCS start. He's played in challenger teams galore, but this is the big stage.
Right now, Audrey is pushing in the top lane, dueling Odoamne. This lane swap has successfully hit Audrey though, one of the weaker members on Giants. Many even question why he is still on the roster, as he was one of the worst AD carries in spring and summer. So didn't have to lane against the Forgiven God, so that's good. He's even on CS, they're even just like 9 CS behind, which technically is ahead against Forgiven.
Yeah, yeah, you're close enough. But I mean, still, it's still worrying if you take a champion that is lane bully like Lucian and you then don't want to opt for the lane. Now you can see Forgiven is already looking to try for that duel. He's picked the package up and he has set.
Yeah, he's trying to find Audrey.
Guy in his sights. There
you see, immediately when he picks up the package, it actually plays a global sound and slightly reveals Corki for a minute, like a miniature amount of time, like a second or so.
Haven't you?
Yeah, I've played against a lot of Corkis and then gotten owned when I don't look at my minimap. So when they base, always look at your minimap because he reveals for like 1 second, and then you gotta run away because package will just really own you. So good pinging there, good awareness from Giants right now. The gold's still even, and their vision's actually slightly better. They put 3 ping ports down in their own jungle though. They should be slightly far above. That's So that really pink wards, you need to use them. They're so valuable. Only 75 gold. They last for an incredible amount of time. All they need to do to equal a normal ward is last 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and you easily get that value out of pink ward.
Yeah, and H2K have got quite a lot of wards themselves, including that pink that Ku should spot, but he's not going to. He sees the blue already taken away. Jankos has pretty much had his way with the Giants jungle so far this game. You can see that they are trying to keep that vision hot so they know exactly where both he and Godfred are at this point. H2K can now have a little bit more free reign on the map, and as you see, definitely a little more faith being placed in the H2K side, but about 40% of fans saying Giants are going to win this game.
A lot of fans rooting for Giants here. Bruhan up to Ryu. Yeah, slow early game. That's what we expected when a lane swap happens. It's almost a gentleman's agreement. It's very hard to break the mold because the successful play patterns, you see Avi a little stuck here behind the pillar, are just taking down tower, swapping around, taking down the other tower, and then it becomes a vision game, which is slower. It's a beautiful game, but not as much blood.
Speaking of slow, Jankos doing his best to clear the pink ward away. Reload. There we go. And a lot of Giants members now sticking around on the bottom side, or at least 2, I should say. 3. Adam is there along with Godfred and Ku. They're going to see if they can bait out Owamne, but he's been very smart about saving his taunts if he needs to escape or if he can bait 3 under the tower. Necessarily dive that early on. Now Jankos and Rio could be in a bit of trouble, but they catch Ku on a charm. Godfred unbreakables, and they'll back away.
Giants realize that H2K is about to set up for the siege. Look at Forgiven pushing top lane. He's rotating down the mid lane. You'll have Jankos, Forgiven, and Rio triple range with some catch, pushing into Pepe's rise. So can Giants hold off this siege? Can they block the siege? Because this tower is under massive pressure.
500 gold lead for H2K. They look to extend it a little bit further. Charm gets narrowly dodged by Pepe. They can't quite finish this one off just yet, but they do have the tools to get away. Traffic cone is up. Jankos is here now, sending out the Foxfire. Ryu just trying to keep the poke going. Another charm is dodged. But if they keep doing this and there's no response from Giants, they can get this tower sooner or later.
Yeah, and Oduwamne right now, he has Stand United available, so he can just comfortably freeze or slow push the bottom wave. There's a very slow response from Odu. He's still pushing out top for some. He's time that way. That means H2K has all the time in the world to land charm. Maybe even burst Ku.
Not quite enough damage, but Jankos is certainly getting there. That will mean they can polish off the tower, get themselves in a much more comfortable lead, and Audrey is just not a part of this. He's down still about 16 CS. He's having to take some more junk, well, rather, he's having to continue to stay up on the top side. Oduwamne, meanwhile, is free pushing in the bottom, but he's got the double teleport available. That's the difference, and H2K are making much better use of their tools this game.
Yeah, and Giants, they just open up Pandora's box by letting that mid-lane power fall for free. Right now, we have the liberty to invade any side of the tower.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Should know, but they know he's there thanks to that ward that he just clears off the board.
Oh, I was about to say.
Half the tower, or half the dragon rather, is taken down. They've been it's not too big of a deal to give up first dragon.
From them, but at least they have some experience. Contrast that with Ku, who's coming in fresh in the LCS here, has to work with Godfred, who didn't really have that synergy either last year with Frederick.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit more rebuilding for Giant side. H2K seem to have this synergy locked up. And you know, you got to think for these former Rocket members, Jankos and Banner, it's not the first time they've worn H2K either. If you go back to 2013, there was that 3-month stint. I believe they won DreamHack Bucharest way back in the day, but they still got him in the closet.
I don't have that backlog, man. I was just playing League of Legends back then. I wasn't paying attention.
That's okay, Crapo. You got the game knowledge.
Ask
Can't do it.
questions while
You got
punching.
the statistics.
Oh yeah. Oh well, no. Spells got the statistics, but
There is
feeds them to me. So more push on this bottom side. Tier 2 now. They can keep stacking up like
The
this, and they
rivers will
start to
run
get into
red.
dangerous power zones. One more item component away from the Trinity Force for the Corki, and you know how Ham Forgiven can get when he feels powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And just like you were talking about how they would take down the middle lane tower earlier, they're doing the same thing right now. Push the
Shit
side
mo,
lane,
man.
get some of the Giants members there frantically trying to clear that wave. Once they're in that position, walk away, move to another lane, siege that tower. Once they're there, walk away again, because H2K, they have ranged advantage, they have poke, and as long as they don't get flanked and hard engaged upon, they will just siege every single tower down in this mid-game.
And what is Adam doing on this tenant right now? What is Audrey doing with this Lucian? The power spikes that they have, what they were able to do in the early game, didn't happen because of those fast pushes. They haven't responded well. They've just been trying to catch up in farm, but they're falling behind their counterparts.
Yeah, and Audrey's also stuck on the economy build here. Kalfu's Warhammer and the Coke Agility. Yankos will expand on that.
He
Get
caught
a little bit.
He's gonna flash. He doesn't dash. Looks like he spent it already. But Otowande's there. The Rift Herald is starting to beat on him. But Giants are in hot pursuit right now. If they can get the catch, but there are a few more dashes, and now they've let him on a wild goose chase, which means that Ryu can start pushing in the bottom side. Forgiven's gonna join him. They've got so much going for them, as long as they don't lose anything.
Yeah, action means reaction. If they go for the hard engage, they go for the pig Giants. That's all they can do. Try and kill people. With H2K, they're playing the macro game, and that is something they were known for as a team last year already. You gotta look at quality for them. This is one of the saving graces for your organization as a whole. You have this wealth of talent that hasn't always played the best macro game, but as an organization, they can mold these players in very great tactical players in addition to the mechanical prowess that they bring to the table. That is why many hail them as a super team.
Absolutely. And last year they were very quiet
What
about that too. They
the
had a lot of success, but they
fuck?
didn't generate a lot of hype because of that more macro-oriented playstyle that they eventually got to. But now they're coming in. They're such a
Holy
hyped-up team.
shit.
Everyone expects them second, third, maybe even first place, and they're showing that they're not missing a beat here against this Giant squad.
Yeah, look at the power spikes. Abyssal for the early safety picked up by Ryu. He knows he doesn't have to go for any fancy picks, for any frost screens.
I'm trying to get in the
because
game
they
for
can
like
play
30
the map.
minutes now.
All he needs to do is survive, so if he gets caught, he has a little bit of an advantage, or if he catches Xpepi out from a brush, he can burst him with all that penetration. Once he gets frost screens finished, it's going to get even more dirty or disgusting, because once the Giants are starting to rotate between the range to match that siege, frost screens flame comes out, slows them, and that's when they get picked off. So really, a lot of control exerted here from H2K, and very little counterplay from Giants. All their moves are incredibly scripted and honestly obvious, so as long as H2K keeps up the vision, it's incredibly hard for Giants to find an opening.
Well, you know we don't allow scripting here, so Giants could be in a lot of trouble. At the moment, you're welcome. At the moment, they really need Adam to try for a flank, but they don't have enough deep vision to pull this off. They don't have any speed boost really outside of the cannon. I mean, this is the issue. It seems like their comp, yeah, you said it, they're very linear in what they can do.
Yeah, Adam now finished his Zonias though. He's looking for a teleport flank. That's what he wants. Ooh, the good pillar by Vander.
Yeah, very nicely done. Forces that summoner spell away. Audrey will have a much harder time. And again, they can keep pushing. Now, there's a teleport coming in. That's the flank, but Adam, he's going around the backside. They may be able to catch Yankos. They do get the stun off. He's exhausted. Throws the Zonias. That's the start. First blood. It's 16.5 minutes into the game, but Giants secure it. Odo comes in. They want revenge on the side of H2K. Ku running distraction duty, but he might sacrifice himself. Will it be a 1-for-2? It looks like it. Giants started it off, but they lost more than they got.
Yeah, very forced opportunity here. Adam lands, flashes one direction, and then uses his lightning rush to go one other direction. They get one pick, but they use all the bullets right there. Odoamne comes in, beautiful tower flash, and then H2K, they take another tower. Just look at how easy it goes. Whereas opposed to earlier Giants, they were trying to siege, minions just disappeared immediately. Forgiven, wait to do that. With one rocket, one Q, and they were gone.
Take a look at how that happened again. All started with the burnt flash by Audrey, and then all of a sudden, Adam has the brilliant idea
to teleport. No home guards yet. He's still up tier 1. He's going to go back in the lane after trying to chase Forgiven with flashes. Then decides otherwise, goes to the top side. Good exhaust. Godfred's already melted. Ryu gets exhausted, but none of his damage gets really denied. Was it on flash onto Audrey? Good target.
Kalahari's putting out some hurt, man.
Epinero's chasing the support right there. Overall, just chaos. This play could have been set up more elaborately, better, just more structured, but it was a panic play. And you can definitely tell that some of these members are new to the LCS.
Absolutely. They've definitely got a lot of time on their hands. This is only week 1 and only the very first day, so it's really a test run for Adam and Ku, but the whole team does need to get it together. Again, they are against a very tough squad of H2K, but for the time being, they're down 3K, they're down 3 towers comparatively. Yankos is just running right into Peppy, and that's not a great thing if you're Rise, as an AD carry running into you. Spent the colon to try and clear the wave here. They've still got enough damage to chunk it out significantly. Another excellent pillar from the Trundle, just keep the interrupts going. Meanwhile, Odoamne is completely uncontested in mid.
Yeah, HCK have the option to rotate to NLA, and they're probably going to stay top here. Culling and Visalty are the only amounts of slightly reliable wave through here. Forgiven just sieging away, and look how HCK is not opting in for any fights. And even though they are likely mechanically better in every single role, They could
I
destroy
know,
this players.
hero.
They
Just
go
a
for very
yordle with a
siege-heavy,
hammer.
calculated approach. Epinero
Just like that.
tries to defend, but he just gets picked off. And I like the way H2K is playing this game from a macro point of view, and also what it means for progression later in the split, because they can beat up this team likely just by pure mechanical skill, but they opt for a very strategic approach.
Hopefully not show too much of their hand, but they have definitely built a comp and utilized it extremely well. We talked about the mid-game power spike. They have been rocking and rolling with it. As you just pointed out, that Frost Green Sling completed on Ryu. And of course, look at a little bit more defensive build from Jankos. He's got the Hex Fist to prevent the AP damage that does exist. They're not worried about Audrey at all. To be honest, they shouldn't.
Yeah, Audrey is the first one to get blown up in the fight, and then Jankos with the Hex Drinker, deceptively tanky there against Adam and Pepe on the double AP composition.
Yeah. And you know, they've also got their locket completed too for Vander, so they have a lot of MR available to them. And they've also got the extra shield in case someone does get popped on. It's close to 20 minutes. As you see, the Baron will be available, but H2K are likely not going to need this if they just continue on their trajectory to just keep pushing Giants further and further back, winning the war of attrition. They can take this game home easy.
Yeah, they can follow the same playbook they have the entire game, and then choose. They can choose which towers to siege. If they find it a little difficult, they can pick up the Baron buff. They can pick up the first
The
Dragon buff
rivers
as well.
will run red.
Both damages is definitely worth spending some time doing that. Trinket-wise, 4 blue trinkets. We saw Fnatic once he got ahead, actually opting for
Never won.
Without the other.
Perhaps actually a wiser choice if you do control the map. You don't really need safety check brushes with the blue wards if you just move it back and rotate in between the lanes once all the members are revealed.
Yeah. It's definitely an option for them, but they're playing it about as safe as they possibly can right now. But there are just so many wards already scattered throughout the Giants jungle. That bottom side had always been lit up throughout this game, but Giants' warding area is pretty much limited to their own red buff and a few river entrances. They don't have a lot of vision, they don't have a lot of information, and that makes it so much harder for them to try and make these comeback plays like they did with Adam.
They can still make some
Let the
picks up
storm
because there's
follow
limited
in my
amount of
wake.
wards overall on H2K side. 3 side stone wards, no pink wards in the inventory except on Ryu right now.
Fortune
And
doesn't
no
favor
yellow
fools.
trinkets, so if the blue wards get cleaned out, then Giants can still make some picks, and that's what they're hoping for. Somebody to get greedy, somebody to overextend.
Yeah, wait on that rise, keep on buying your time as much as you can, set up a good flank with Adam. As long as H2K don't get cocky though, that's going to be so hard. That opportunity is just not going to come along, and meanwhile the gold gap just keeps on widening. H2K 6K up, or roughly that, to Giants right now, only 31,000 gold in their pockets. Spooky Ghosts come out, Godfrey's going to get spotted right as he recalls.
Safety check by Ryu. How
There
many
we
people
go.
are here? 2 ghosts go out that way. There's likely not too many people here. Charming the bush. A lot of respect here from H2K.
Yeah, they're playing the safe game out and feeling this one out to begin with. Giants Gaming, for their hand, you know, they have managed to get a little bit in this game. They haven't been completely shut down. We saw that they're willing to make these plays, but it is so scattered. If they can sync up their synergy, though, we could see a very different team by the end of this play.
So
Giants are going for a
finally,
Hail Mary, trying to pick somebody off, but H2K is comfortably playing passive. Just work at the bot lane. On they push it again.
Continuing to do what he does best. Odo, he's often function on low resources, but this
finally get into a fucking game. Why can I not? Oh, okay. Okie dokie.
to Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn.
I'm just gonna set this up later.
I'm absolutely livid.
Minions have spawned.
I forgot what I was doing.
My cup is half empty. Please, let it all
I screwed up so bad. He's gonna be so far, but I'm trying to set up the stupid.
Let's cool this. The plot thickens. Trickling progress.
A summoner has disconnected. A summoner has
Alright. Not too bad.
Wonderful. So apt.
Once again.
Trickling progress.
No match for me.
None are.
Yeah, I pushed up too far. That was my fault. That was my fault. I was so close.
My cup is half empty.
That was my bad. Can't blame nobody.
Please
Kindred.
let it all out.
That's fine though. I'm still farming pretty good. He's gonna rate me later.
A draining exercise. absolute. A vital decision. Deliciously
Just look at my revolver real fast. Nice ducking. Push this up.
Let's pool our efforts. My cup is half empty.
He's having mana problems. I fucked that up. That might be able to kill him.
Such people all repair armor. An enemy has been slain.
Something.
An enemy has been slain.
A vital. Trickling progress. Please, let it out. I'm a universal recipient.
Got my will, so.
A vital decision. Something is leaking.
An enemy has been slain.
Trickling progress.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
The clot thickens. A harvest moon, so aptly named. My cup is half empty. Let's pool our efforts.
Killing spree. Shut down.
I'm absolutely. A vital decision. Wonderful.
I think I'm doing pretty good in lane right now. I'm feeling pretty comfy. Feeling pretty good right now. After this, I probably won't have too many issues of sustaining lane.
Please let it all out.
I won't worry too much now. I'm doing pretty good.
A harvest moon, so aptly.
Just lost that
Care to
already.
make a donation? My cup is half empty. Trickling progress. Absolutely livid.
Rampage.
Let's pool our efforts.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
A harvest moon, so apt.
The eternal twilight calls for you.
Deliciously vain.
Double kill.
I don't know if we got the dragon or not. Yeah, we do. Alright, now I'm in a good spot.
Trickling progress.
Now I'm in a good spot right now. Now I'm sitting comfy as fuck. Yeah, I don't think there's much he could really do to me right now.
Wonderful.
don't think there's much.
An
you can
enemy
really
has
do.
been slain.
There's my boy Kindred over there, though. My boy over there.
I love it.
Negative 7,000 damage.
My cup is half empty.
You're 4 levels below me with no items. You're negative 20 damage.
Wonderful.
That's I'm sitting good right now. There's not awful too much that I can go down right now that I would really have to screw up.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Like, I would really have to screw up. Sorry.
Trickling progress.
This game's a wash, though. We just fucking wrecked them so bad.
Please, let it all out. The clock ticks.
Ally has been slain. Shut down.
Let's pool our efforts.
An enemy has been slain. Shut down.
My cup is half empty.
Your turret has been destroyed. Your team has destroyed a turret. Shut down. Shut down.
Care to make a donation? A empty.
I'm in a good spot, man. I'm in a good spot.
Thickens.
Right now it'd be perfect for Baron. I'm just too far away for that.
Executed. Executed. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Please, let it all out.
Shut down.
My cup is half empty. A vital decision.
That's gonna turn into a fight. I'm just gonna make my way over there.
A harvest moon.
Killing spree.
Trickling progress.
I'm gonna hold it right here.
Shut down. Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down. An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed.
Let's pool our efforts. Wonderful.
I'm just gonna keep everything pushed. There's not exactly too much they can do about Sitting pretty comfy right now. Sitting pretty. Go ahead and get this hourglass and everything.
The clot thickens.
slain.
Please let it all out. I'm absolutely livid. Wonderful.
I don't even think I took any fucking damage. Oh no, Volley was about to kill my ass. I ain't gonna lie. I got that lucky heal. I got that one lucky ass fucking Q off. Saved my ass.
A vital decision.
I do some work though. I'm doing work.
Clot thickens.
I think I just pretty much was too much for. I was just too much for Vigo to put it on.
I'm absolutely livid.
Steal that bitch. Get that mark, motherfucker.
Let's pool our efforts.
Did I?
Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor. Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
It's GG.
Triple kill. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Why can I not? Okay. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. There we go. Did pretty good. Actually, I'm gonna... don't want this to go. I don't want this to happen right now.
What?
I don't want.
I dropped my makeup on your carpet. You're gonna have to get someone to complain to that. It's just staining. It's gonna stain. Pass me a beer.
No!
Give me. Ow! You cut my lip. You cut my lip. Look. Give me no. I want to sip it. A sip of the beer. Will make me laugh like that? You made me feel it in my nose. It's in my nose, Leland. He's mad because he don't want me to pluck my eyebrows on his couch.
No man wants any female to pluck their eyebrows on his couch. No, not no motherfucker ever.
It went through my nostrils. It's kind of. Hey.
This is what I deal with, guys.
Am I getting your nerves?
This is what I fucking deal with.
Suffocate. This video's not working out. My phone's too small. I need a bigger phone. Did you steal my tweezers again? You did. Leland, I thought we were gonna be kitty cats and raccoons.
This is what I deal with, guys. This is what I deal with. This was yesterday. You are not plucking your eyebrows on my couch.
Yes, I
No,
am.
you're not.
I am. It's an eyebrow. It's an eyebrow. It's hair. Like.
Do you see me plucking my penis on this fucking couch? No. I don't want your hair on my couch.
Okay. The difference between eyebrow hair and that hair is the fact that this hair is on my face and that hair is not on my face.
And what do I tell another girl when she comes over and she sees eyebrow hairs on my couch?
Tell her that some girls over here plucking her eyebrows on my couch.
No, because you're not plucking your
Okay, the skunk did it.
Pluck your eyebrows in the bathroom.
Nope. Ouch. Put on some Justin Bieber. Can you do that?
No. No man can just do that.
I'm a believer. You're a believer. My mama don't like you and she likes everyone.
I'm not liking you right now.
Apparently she likes you. She's been messaging you all day.
Your mom loves me.
Alright, I need some light in here. Can you turn your lamp on? Thanks. Wait a minute. Alright, who else is Justin Bieber? I wasn't Justin Bieber.
None of this is you.
I wasn't Justin Bieber.
I don't want to listen to Justin Bieber.
Please. Please. Please.
You're not that cute.
Oh.
Not for Justin Bieber.
I am done. He hurt my feelings. I'm gonna go cry now. Do you care?
No. I'm an asshole.
I don't care when that black man in jail sticks his dick up your asshole.
Why am I going to jail? This is what I deal with, dudes. This is what I fucking live with right here. No, I don't live with her. But this is what I deal with
Hey.
when they come over.
Hello?
From the outside. It's fucking crazy, man. It's fucking crazy.
I can't anymore.
I just can't, man. Why is it still up here? Yeah, about that. about that, guys. Alright. I'm still finding a match. We're just gonna go ahead and put on some LCS, man.
Unicorns thunder ahead in this game. 21 minutes just about on the clock. They will secure the Baron with nothing to contest them, and let's see how that all started again.
Yeah, they're setting up for a siege in top lane. Fox knows they're coming, so tries to desperately clear the wave. But he forces at least a lot of summoner spells, and especially this Varus ultimate can't be used in the fight to spread around. And now Senkix is stuck in the minions, gets eaten by Vizichachi, pops his Grey Health. Hillsang is peeling, and just keep your eyes on Steelbacks right now. He's getting uncontested damage in the entire fight right here. Yeah, Hillsang and Chachi just tanking up so much damage. So tanky overall. Steelback gets to the fight. Vizichachi comes in from the back, and then it's straight up cleanup. So this fight definitely spells a lot towards the victory for the Unicorns.
Yeah, you said at the beginning of that one, used so much to take out the Zed. Yep. Yeah, they got him.
I don't
but
know
then all of a
what
sudden the rest of the
man.
Unicorns were there, stampeded right over him. Steelback made a huge statement. Backed up by his team, but he picks up the triple kill on that. They grab the Baron. You can see
gonna do mid again?
in the smaller window or just a moment ago that Diamond Prox is able to secure another dragon off the back of it, and Unicorns are just in a massive lead right now.
Yeah, and just as in Giants versus H2K, we see the same where Unicorns can continue taking pages out of the same playbook, and a lot easier by using the Baron buff. Right now, Fox can split push on a lane. Again, this Voyage bringing people in. The zone comes out, easy tower. Fox can threaten the Rise. And Rise
Unicorn
can
putting
no
in
longer
work.
focus on wave clearing
I wonder who would have seen that shit coming,
that's
right?
one lane that's already under pressure. You have the 4-man
I'd never guessed that
from the
Unicorns would do work.
pressuring another lane, so why it's incredibly rough. No answers really.
Yeah.
Unicorns
That's where
did
the
strong
experience
last
comes into play, but
season.
Unicorns, a lot of questions surrounded them coming into this split. And again, it is against a team that is very new, inexperienced on this stage, but they've shown already that they can function as a team, and they know where their power is. Right now, looking to siege on the second tier turret in the middle. Yamato contemplates this game in the back. It's a rough start for him, but there's still time for Splice to turn this around.
Yeah, the only saving grace is that Senkix's wave clear is physical damage, so the minion buff from Baron doesn't really reduce that too much. Or at all, really. But the problem is he's just not clearing the wave. Another big poke here from Steel. Like, look at this zone. Chachi can freely walk up and they can't answer because just like we saw with Zed, if they spend all their abilities on killing Vizichachi, the fight will be cleaned up by the remaining 4 Unicorns of Love members.
They just really don't have any answers to this 4-1 that are coming out. They can't really even deal with the 4 members, even if they bring everyone to the party. The inhibitor turret's going down easily. They just keep chunking them out with the poke.
Then they back off again. They wait for Fox to either join the party or make his own little party in the bot lane. Looks like they do like safety in numbers. Fox comes in. They can brute force this inhibitor. They can also send Fox back. They can also shop. They likely have a lot of gold available right now.
Yeah, they've got such a safe way to deal with the engage too. The double QSSs on their side. You take a look at the gold that's split across all those members. In every role, it's just a big differential. About 2,000, 1.5 at the very least. Everyone on Unicorns counts the
rivers
ahead of
will
Fox.
run
I mean, the
red.
gold differential is about 10k. That's the amount of money that Unicorns of Love has available for shopping right now. So they just back off. They put themselves really farther ahead. And even without having spent that gold, you can just see the ease with which they can siege and push and basically finish their very predictable strategy at this point in the game. Something we actually kind of blamed Unicorns for in last season, that they didn't really have
Let
a
us
strategy.
hunt
They
those
had
who
no
have fallen
growth
to
their strategy.
darkness.
They were very wonky. Chaos at one point, just battling Legends at one other point. But they seemed to come in with a distinct plan. They had a strong early game jungle in Diamond Fox, and they really understood the limits of their team.
Tonight is my
Well, and everybody did the job too. You know, Diamond Prox, again, we were very harsh on him since he hasn't really delivered to where we know he had been able to in the past for a long time.
Water
This is,
forgets the
you know,
names
super
of the
carry crazy
clouds.
Diamond Prox, but he's a 1-0 3 at least. He did the job he needed to. The AP damage was
Hot hit
valuable
right
in
there.
those early objective clears, and they've been able to bring their other members up to speed because of it.
I wouldn't even call it super carry Diamond Fox. He influenced every single lane, almost, maybe not so much mid
Neither
lane.
the flames nor the depths
Entire
can
map
claim
field.
me.
He looped up with Hillsang, something we didn't really see from Edward Roasted Pepper last season. Edward now again, I believe. With Diamond Fox in terms of jungle support synergy, and Hillsang and Diamond Fox have always developed that warding together style, impacting the map. So far, good progression from the Unicorns.
Yeah, and they managed to make some good use out of that Baron, as you can see. That's the way they've extended the gold lead. The Baron power play about 4,000 ahead of where they were before taking that. And that was all off the back of that big fight in the favor of Steel back up on the top. And you can see how much he's starting to sting. Sen cuts him right out of his health bar just from one true shot.
Just some context on that number, the average Baron power play in summer for Barons that didn't end up finishing the game was around 3,000. So significantly improvement. 50% increase here. This spec goes in for the stun on Hylissang though, but
Tryon gets the knockup. Chachi's gonna flash. They turn onto Wonderwear and he just melts after the fact. Diamond Prox will get the kill credit. Chains are on to Chachi, but it doesn't matter. Unicorns want to end this right here, right now. No more of this messing around, they say. 2 members down. Look to start finishing off inhibitors. Get some more waves up in the top side. In the bottom side, they can try to end this game right here, right now. Hylissang's just going to go straight on in. Might have gone a little too far forward, but he gets eaten by Chachi rather, and Trashy should go down any minute. There he goes, Steel back with another kill on the board, and they don't need to worry about inhibs now, Crepo. Taking down one Nexus turret, a second one. The Unicorns of Love, you might have thought they were in trouble, but they take the first win. And they did it well.
And this is something we've seen multiple times today. Relatively low amount of kills. I mean, right now we had 15 kills in about 27 minutes, but
clean game.
Just so quick. These teams, they're ready to pull the trigger. Once they get a small lead, it becomes bigger. They start rotating around the map with really good sieges. Baron buff end. Like straight off the bat.
Well, they know, you have to try and push your lead, otherwise the game starts pushing back against you. That's one of those changes that was made in the preseason. Knowing that these players don't sit back and they don't rest on their laurels. Gone are the days of sit back and farm until 40.
Yeah,
that just doesn't happen anymore. And the Unicorns of Love,
beautiful days though.
They were lovely. I didn't want to bring up CLGEU, but anyways, it always happens one way or another. Splice though, question marks for them.
I mean, it's too early to fill in the answers for Splice here. They went with a composition that was very slow scaling. A double tier on your top lane damager, on your mid lane damager, and then a very skirmish heavy bot lane that did not get the assistance that they needed from the jungler. Diamond Prox shut that aggressive. So Diamond Prox, he shut down the one aggressive part on Splice. So first he snowballed Vizichachi in the bot lane, made sure he was winning that matchup even harder. Then he went top and he shut down Kabe and Nisbeth even more. Made sure that Steelback and Hylissang were winning, and at that point there was no more forward aggression left because you had 2 tier scalers and a losing duo bot lane, and at that point Unicorns of Love realized that, went in for deep vision, started sieging. They executed a very good macro strategy, something we are not used to seeing from the Unicorns of Love.
It's a new day, it's new Unicorns, and they managed to prove that there. And you could see with Diamond Prox a very quintessential part of what they were able to accomplish, and now we know why he favored picking this team. He said he had a lot of options in the offseason. A lot of teams definitely wanted him, maybe not just on name recognition alone. Clearly the Unicorns, well, it's not the Powerball, but they definitely won out that time.
Too early to make bold statements though. We'll have to see how it progresses overall. And where the growth is, that is one thing that I was very critical of Unicorns last season. They played a style and they managed to finish top 3, top 4, top 2 even in spring, but then there was no growth.
They got found out.
Yeah, they got found out and they did not evolve. And as we've seen in League of Legends history, once that happens, if you can't adapt between metas, between splits, within the split, you will eventually start going down a hill and end up fighting for relegation.
Yeah, but it's encouraging that we see a different style. They aren't just trying to go crazy. I mean, those big, loud voices that were doing these crazy things have either been tampered or they are tempered, but they've gone completely kickish. You know, he was famous for picking a lot of all sorts of crazy things. His signature Shaco in the jungle, that's obviously gone into the top end too. But new day, new Unicorns, and for now, we're going to send it side stage once again to Pulse for a word with UOL's man roaming the jungle.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Diamond Prox of the Unicorns of Love, and first off, to start this one off, that was a very impressive win. We saw a lot of good macro strategy from you guys. Who's leading the shot calling on your team?
We were just doing what we know. Like, everyone was doing what we practiced, and everyone communicated everything, so we didn't need a shot caller for this game. The only thing we lacked is that we lost the top tier 1 for free. That's what we should have worked on better. But overall, we just communicated well and we knew what to do. That's why, like, no shot caller was needed for this game.
Right, you just had the game plan coming into the game. Well, you can now come onto the Unicorns of Love, and it was a very interesting choice. Can you talk me through why you chose the Unicorns of Love to join?
Basically because when I was playing like previous split of LCS, I was like seeing that Vizichachi and Hylissang are doing super good, and I was looking up to them on their roles. Like, I felt they were like really smart and really good mechanically, especially Hylissang. And after I got like kind of an offer from Unicorns of Love. I see there are only those 2 players left, and the new ones which I really respect are coming too. So I basically liked their roster very, very much. So I joined them, and I think we have good chances of success. And I really like the team atmosphere here.
Well, that's very cool to hear. A lot of respect coming from you as well, Diamond Prox. And you touched on it briefly at the end there, but what are your goals for the split? How well do you think this team is going to do, and what do you personally want to achieve this split in spring?
I don't know. I just want to play good. That's all.
Just want to play good. Well, it started off well, Diamond Prox. Thank you very much for the interview. We're going to send it over to the Alistair to take a look at the game.
Thank you so much, Pauls, and indeed it's a question we asked before getting into the game. That legacy player in Diamond, what can he do with a different configuration? And he answered himself. I have a lot of respect for Hylissang and Chachi, and it is in the top and the bottom lane that the first things, whoop, okay, got rolling, as my pen did.
Yeah, if we look very quick at the pick and ban phase, because that's very important to set up how that early game played out. Basically, what happens here for Splice is they see the first 4 picks for Unicorns of Love. And they see Tahm Kench, Alistar, Elise, Ezreal. Okay, so there's no real engage other than Tahm Kench ulti coming into backline, fairly predictable to play around. There's no real wave clear either.
Yep.
That's are you okay?
Sorry, go ahead.
There's no wave clear either. So Splice goes, who's our mid laner? Oh, Varus. Poke against no wave clear, against low engage. The problem is, you already have a weaker jungle matchup in Rek'Sai into Elise in the early game, and now you give a counter pick to Unicorns of Love. So they take Zed, winning matchup in mid, so that combo of Zed and Elise together gives you full map control if you are the Unicorns of Love. And again, you're playing double tier. There's so little you can do in the early game if you're Splice.
It played right into Fox's hands. When I was researching the differences between Fox and Power, I'm just like, ooh, Fox played like 8
Let
games
us hunt
of
those who
Zed
have
last
fallen
season.
to
You know,
darkness.
Zed wasn't played in summer, so I mean, Varus not a great matchup for that, but we were talking a little bit about what could they have gone for to be safe pick. You know, there was the likes of the Victor, all these options. You were talking about the Ahri that we've seen a couple of times today, and I find it an interesting point. We were talking about the coaching style of Yamato. I've been sat here next to Yamato sometimes, and he's like, I'm not a big Ahri fan. I don't really think it fits. We've seen Ryu do really well on it in playoffs, and just for some reason Yamato previously didn't like Ahri. I wonder whether that still plays into it, but nevertheless, in this game, there was just so much that happened before an Ahri even would have got into it. You look at Diamond Prox's early game in the jungle, just how this game started was just insane for the Unicorns.
Basically, you're looking at pressure in the lane more than anything, but again, Diamond, he has the stronger early
You
matchup.
got
He has
to
a great
be
lane
kidding
gank.
me.
Tahm Kench lane is so easy to gank. He has perma-slow, he can get, obviously, the Devour. And then now, because there's so much map control for Unicorns, and because Kobe and Nisbet are currently losing the lane, they've just lost a big trade so they can push down to south. This should not happen for Lucian. That sets up Diamond to then go dive up top side. He knows there's no response from the mid lane because look at Zed here, had already jumped him, and now once again, controlling mid. It does give a kill to Splice, but this was about the only highlight of the game for this team.
It really was, but here was the highlight for Unicorns. This play in the bottom lane. Deficio, I know you loved this play.
Well, the thing is, I wanted to see this even earlier, but yes, this is how you play the composition for Unicorns of Love. You have a 1-3-1 with Tahm Kench TP. That's the weaker lane. That's not the lane you want to gank. Instead, you have the Zed. You know he has the pressure. You want to play around him because he doesn't have teleport, so you want to stay near him. And you know he's going to push it down to tower, and you just go for the dive. Alistar, Elise, Tahm Kench, all perfect divers. That's like a free kill every time.
So good. I mean, that's the Tahm Kench Alistar first rotation at a Unicorn. That's exactly what that's meant to do at that point, and that wasn't the end of it for the Unicorns. They kind of took that and went, oh, we have a lead, let's just snowball this. The ace that they got in the top side jungle, just this fight from the Unicorns just completely summed up the game.
Sealing the deal.
Yeah, obviously engage from Nisbet, no shadow, so they do think they can create a pick, but it doesn't go fast enough. And they end up investing so much, and then we have the minions here basically making almost impossible to escape, and once Sandbox is pulled in by the Tahm Kench, it's almost game over there because now the damage is gonna lag after everything was invested, and Splice are already fairly low, and Steelback can start cleaning up, which he did really, really well on this Ezreal pick. That's really a pick that fits him.
Yeah, 5-0-4 ending from Steelbat. Of course, another person that we had some question marks around coming from his split in NA back to the EULCS after previously having played on Fnatic, of course. So good first impression.
And I think that first impression, again, as I would say, was very good from Steelback. I think one of the things that's almost plagued Steelback in the last year is his last impression from MSI. I think his split in general with Fnatic through spring was decent, but MSI seemed to be a stumbling block.
Oh, did I
Looks
not
to be back
pick?
on form in the first game now of the season.
Yeah, very good victory for the Unicorns of Love for Splice. Not a victory yet. There are 2 teams left to make their spring split debut and also look for a victory, Vitality and Rocket. Before we go, we'll hear what Nukeduck thinks about his former team.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to play against Rocket. I'm still good friends with the people there. I met them when we were practicing. And I think Rocket is a fairly underrated team compared to the common consensus of them. I think they're pretty strong, and when we played against them, they were pretty smart. So I'm looking forward to play against them. I think it will be a good match.
Welcome back to the European LCS. You can see the Unicorns of Love doing a fan meet.
I'm breaking
with the guys
everything over
outside,
here.
but now we have 2 other new rosters of Vitality and Rocket about to go at it in our final match of the day. Very interesting and very cool to see all the ambiance here in the studio as well. Let's start by taking a look at the 2 squads with Vitality on the blue side of the rift with Cabo Shard, Shook, Nukeduck, Yarnan, Kasing, and Sean's. Of course, Vitality buying the LCS spot from Gambit Gaming and doing some very interesting things. We dropped the name of Super Team already. I don't want to jinx anything, but this is a very good looking lineup in terms of individual skill.
Oh, it really is. I mean, if there's one team that I would say has the highest skill cap when it comes to the newer form teams, this is it. Like, Vitality are a mechanical, just almost mechanical gods team. I don't want, that's probably too far for that, but Shook is a player who mechanically as a jungler is very strong when he's on form. Cabochard, everybody talks about how mechanically good he is. So on a European level, this is like the team that if they get high skill cap champions that have a lot of potential on their lineup,
there's a lot of skill
they
in
could
here.
do well. That's what I'm saying, is that's the downside. Can they do that every single time they load up onto the Rift? I probably wouldn't say every single time. They need to do it at least against Fnatic, Origin, and H2K.
I would say Shook, his performance last split, obviously very difficult for him coming in, and the team was already losing the Copenhagen Wolves and so on. But Shook still managed to have some good early games. And again, it's what we know from Shook, but it's always also been the issue for Shook, is that we get the great early game, the perfect game versus Najin White Shield for Alliance at Worlds, and we're like, holy moly, this guy. I mean, that is insane. And then the next two games, we don't even see him load onto the Rift. And we're just like, what's going on here? Find that stability for Shook, combine it with Cabochard. That 2v2 is what I'm looking at for Vitality, because I know Yarnan and Kasing will do fine in the 2v2. I know Nuke Dog will be good in the 1v1. I need to see Cabochard and Shook get synergy, Fnatic, Summer style-ish with Huni Reignover. Then Vitality can really get rolling.
And super interesting, you mentioned it as well, keeping that bottom lane together. Of course, we didn't see Yarnan and Kasing and H2K, but Vitality, that's a very good move, in essence, keeping those two together.
It isn't, you know, it nearly didn't happen. We saw Kasing go over, play a little bit for TSM.
Yes, Sam, just a little.
Comes
baiting,
back.
baiting.
Yeah.
But he comes back, as, you know, they were pretty vocal. They wanted to play together as well. So, I mean, it's a good building block to start with. When you look at a team like Vitality, who as an organization are new to League of Legends, new to the LCS, you pick up two players like that have got experience playing in the top 3 of Europe time and time again. I think that's a great starting point.
Yeah, and I think really that bottom lane combined with Nuke Dog is going to be the backbone for this lineup, because again, we are expecting Shook and Cabochard to kind of go a little bit up and down from time to time, because it is fairly all in the way they like to play. So they need that backbone. Again, I like to look at this lineup and kind of look at Fnatic of last year in terms of how I expect the playstyle to be. I'm not saying in terms of overall leveling, but like the playstyle, because you got Cabochard, who's a bit of a Huni type, carry, split pusher, so on. Mid lane, you have the Febiven type in Nuke Dog, who can play both assassins and control mages, who, in my opinion, are consistently just a very stable laner. And then you got that team fighting AD carry in Yarnan, you got the shot calling support in Kasing, who can also roam quite a lot. Shook is the only one who doesn't really fit 100% into this one. He is the question mark in that sense. But I think this lineup will play with Shook around Cabochard and the 2v2 lane of Yarnan and Kasing making work on their own down the bottom lane.
In any case, a very, very strong roster put together. If we look at the other side of the Rift, let's take a look at the lineup for Roccat, because a lot more questions there. Freddy122, Airwax, Betsy, Safir, Edward, and the coach I'm So Fresh. They lost nearly all of their star players. All of them, actually. And if we talk, or if we look at upgrades in any role, where do you see him, if at all?
Well, I mean, it's insane how different of an off-season it is for Vitality, and then for Roccat, again, as you said, losing basically the core players of Roccat, Nuke Dog, Jankos, and Vander. I don't think there specifically is an upgrade on this lineup. Top lane with Freddy, if he can have a comeback year, basically a Season 4 performance, maybe, but honestly, I don't see an upgrade.
Well, we do have 5 minutes left before we get into picks and bans, so let's talk a little bit more. Maybe start with Freddy. He had openly come out last year and said, well, you know, this wasn't my year anymore. There needs to be a new chapter. And now he finds himself on this Roccat roster, so what can happen?
Well, he was very, very honest in the offseason, in the AMA that Roccat did on Reddit, just talking about the problems SK had, why he didn't feel like it suited him as a player anymore, that, you know, moving forward, he really wanted to get back to his top form. So the one thing we do know is if Freddy is on his top form, he has previously been one of those top laners that everybody talks about for Europe.
Yes.
The problem is that was such a long time ago now.
And Freddy was not the guy who said, where's my team? Okay, get on my back, and I'm just going to go forward, and I will literally be the big carry. He was always the team player. He's always been very good in terms of communication, in terms of teleports. You know, he plays a lot of different picks up there. He has a lot of tanks, obviously, in his champion pool. And he fits very nicely with a team who has strong carries. that is sadly not the case for Rocket. When we look at Betsy and Sapphire, formerly known as Jeebus, obviously, who went over and tried to play
And
with
goes to Pepper.
Renegades.
And Edward.
And
Then
now-
goes to Pepper. And then Edward.
Yeah, now it's Eddie, or Edward again, we call him Eddie. I need someone like Betsy or Sapphire to step up and show that they are better than people expect them to be in order for Rocket to become more than a team fighting just to avoid relegation.
I wonder, though, if that's too much to ask for, which seems very harsh, but I think Betsy, when you look at it, he had a couple of weeks right when he joined Gambit, when he came in for Nick, that he actually looked pretty solid. That's why they stuck with him. He looked like he was at a level that was the mid laner that Gambit needed at the time. The problem was, over time, it just became apparent that the rest of the mid lane scene in Europe just kind of outgrew where Betsy was. And he just stayed at the same level. And right now, it's not the kind of level that you'd expect from a middle-of-the-pack team.
Betsy also joined Gambit at a point where Europe wasn't the strongest region, where we were still kind of rebuilding that.
And we are now? What are you saying?
No. But Europe right now is a lot stronger than it was back in spring last year. There's a very, very big difference, because we had to rebuild every single team. And even like Fnatic and SK and so on, they were still trying to figure out how to play and everything back then. So Betsy joined at a point where I didn't feel like the greatest competition were there necessarily for him. And yes, he looked fine, and he definitely did. Summer, we didn't see too much from him. That was really where the other mid laners, as you said, got better and better and kind of stood still. Airwax, though, is a guy I want to look at in the jungle. I think he's kind of my wild card as a guy I look at on this lineup who has shown the ability in the past to honestly have fantastic early games where he gets every single lane going, he ganks everything left and right. It didn't happen often enough, but I think Airwax has the skill to be a great jungler. I'm not sure the rest of the Rocket, though, can enable him.
We're still waiting for a mouse issue to get fixed on stage before we get into picks and bans. One of the two things you really need, of course, to get into this game.
I hear that's helpful. But speaking of
Bud Light,
newer additions
have a
to
tea kettle.
this lineup here for Rocket, Saphir, formerly known as Jeebus, when you look at his performance in Challenger, in the European Challenger Series, I think it was Summer Split at the beginning, he played on Gamers 2 at the time, now G2. I corrected it. So he was good for European Challenger at the point. And then when the changes happened to G2, he went over to North America and just didn't have a lot of success. There was a lot of discussion around Jeebus. In Challenger, good, maybe great. LCS is a different ballgame. We've already seen some of the new Challenger players, like Senkux and Kobe from Splice, just fall in the last game against some of the more longer-standing players. So, again, it's going to be on Jeebus now to take that next step. The same with Betsy. Use the off-season, take the next step up to a European level for the LCS. You cannot stay at a bottom of the table or challenger level and expect to stay in the LCS.
Yeah, but you say you have to make the step up now. If we talk about people like Betsy, that was 2 years in the making. Arax, that was an entire season almost. So you gotta question if the seed to grow is there, and if it's not, how do you make it happen with this team, and how do you make it happen specifically in game one here versus Vitality with all those seemingly very gifted players?
So I don't think you look at game one if you are Rocket and say, oh, it's Vitality we have to beat, obviously. I don't think you look at Fnatic or Origin or H2K. I think you honestly say these games, it's just like learning. We don't really care about winning those games necessarily. We are looking at all the matches against the new challenger teams coming up, against Elements, against Giants, because those are the games for Rocket to win if they want to sneak into playoffs, if they want to avoid relegation. And honestly, for them, they're not the only team who has to kind of rebuild again with a lot of new players. So I don't feel like they are in a worse situation than anyone else. It's honestly about like all these teams like Elements and Rocket and Giants and whatever, like who matches first and who can find that strategy that works, or who can find these champion picks that make it work for these guys. Because every LCS player have one or two champions at least where they can play on a very high level. That's guaranteed. You got to find these champions, figure out how can we use them in compositions, because I don't think you need to go out and start playing 6 different champions each.
I would agree with that. And honestly, I think there's a key thing when you look at the mix of experience and newer players on this lineup. I think if the legacy players of Freddy, Gosu Pepper are hungry, if they're hungry to really do well this split, this is where they need to lead a player like Saphir. Lead him into how to take that next step, because they clearly have taken those steps in the past. They have been there, they've done that, they've been to Worlds. Now you need to kind of rekindle that fire, regroup as a team and really break things down and give it pretty much everything when it comes to strategy, your picks and bans, everything about the game. Make sure that you're absolutely on top form.
And you do not have to play like SKT. A lot of LCS teams want to be SKT. I probably want to be SKT.
Hey, me too.
Why not? Let me be Faker, please.
World champion.
But you do not have to play perfect League of Legends to play well, to win games. There are very, very simple strategies in many ways that people can use and learn. Like, first of all, perfect the Western lane swap. It's something almost any team in the LCS managed to do last year in summer. You need to do that as well, so you're not losing a game in lane swap like we saw Giants do, fall super far behind because of a mistake in that swap. Remove that part at least. Understand how to play 1 to 2 compositions. So like we have a siege composition as an example. Know when is your power spike on this one at, like, let's say 15 minutes. How do you group? When do you push? Where do you deep ward to avoid getting flanked? And then take maybe a comp where a skirmish combo, whatever. You play like Ari, you play Leauge, and you try and pick off targets and then 1-3-1 after. That's what you're looking for. You do not need to play 5 different comps. You don't need to be Faker. You don't need to be SKT. To avoid relegation in the EU LCS.
And that's what H2K did earlier today. They didn't do anything particularly flashy or anything too complicated. They were like, okay, well, we've played like 15 games together. They're going to lane swap on us. Let's just play a lane swap. And let's just win the game from that. Giants never really contested against that. If a team like Roccat can perfect that early game and that setup, there is a chance still for them.
Yeah, winning games in the EU LCS 101. We get to talk about this a bit because the mouse issue on stage is not yet solved. It will be soon, I do hope. That gives us a little more time to talk about the Vitality roster. Talking about high expectations, we talk about Roccat and finding ways to make it easier for themselves to win the game. I feel like Vitality is a team that will want to come out and make or take a stand rather in the very first game and dominate their opponents.
For sure. Also after they saw Fnatic, I guess, surprise people a bit in game 1, beating Origin. Now H2K had an expected game against Giants, taking that win. So Vitality is the team we also look at and say these guys should be top 4.
Yeah.
Anything else would be disappointing. For them, though, because I think it's a little bit more raw with all this different talent they're picking together, I think it could take longer for them to really start performing well, especially on a macro level, compared to H2K, where they had 2 former members, and then Jankos and Vander, who had played together for multiple years now. And you put them together. So I do expect Vitality to take a little bit longer to become a strong macro team. But I think we're going to see these games where laning phase, after like 10-15 minutes, they are just like 2-3k gold ahead because they've just been playing so well in the lane, and they just start rolling over you. I mean, these games will happen for Vitality.
Yeah, they absolutely will. And, you know, I was maybe a little bit enthusiastic about Vitality earlier. I think I was running before I could walk on that one. And I look at this lineup and I'm like, okay, I think they're actually pretty strong. But they do have their drawbacks. And one of them that I'm looking at is a player that everybody's spoken so much about, and that's Nukeduck in the mid lane. He's always, he's so good in the mid lane, so good in the mid lane. Never was consistently showing up for Roccat. He'd go for like 3 or 4 games and be like, on form, that's Nukeduck, we're seeing him, he's brilliant, he's amazing, great, Nukeduck from scrims. Then he'd have 4 games where it's like, okay, Nukeduck's not exactly showing up, whether it's his team, whether it's, you know, the setup point. This time around, Hyanan and Kasing in the bottom lane, good setup bot lane. Cabochard, you'd assume will win most top lanes. Good setup there. If Shook can get him snowballing mid lane, could have a more consistent...
Wait. I do think that the Fisher wants to challenge the Nukeduck point.
Okay.
I think Nukeduck on Roccat, if you look back at the summer split, if you take the recent split, only struggled in the games where the rest of the Roccat lineup didn't have anyone drawing pressure.
Right.
So it's like, Steve is playing a tank, okay, fair enough. Or Mr. Riles is playing a farm lane, fair enough. Well, who do we target? Nukeduck in the mid lane.
This is the difference. This lineup is the difference.
Because Nukeduck, in the end for Roccat, look at, you know, when he played the Gauntlet.
Yep.
When he played the last few weeks of the LCS, I felt like he had great games. He played Varus, Victim, whatever. He had fantastic carry games. Azir was awesome. Now, as you mentioned, the pressure is not on Nukeduck. Because it will be Cabochard and Shook together. You have to respect that.
Yep.
Hyanan and Kasing, when they played on H2K, were super aggressive as well, in the way that they like to play the lane.
I'm going to cut you off right there because we are into picks and bans, so let's get it over to our casters. Woohoo!
Woo! We're here.
Champ
Thank you, Shocks, and thank you for sticking with us. I know that was an extremely long break, and we were just chilling out here, but we
Paul
are
had
about
to do his
get
hair.
into, yes, I did. So did you. You even asked me
I
how
even
yours
asked
was
for a
looking
double
right
check
now.
right here.
Yeah.
So there was actually no mouse issue. We just had some issues with Pulse's hair.
Yeah, both of us, we had to get that synergy online, but we are literally just seconds away from getting into Champions League, or not. We are actually just going to wait.
We
for
don't
a couple
know.
More seconds.
We
don't know.
saw them hop into Champ Select, and we were all giddy and excited.
Got baited.
And they left Champ Select. So right now we are looking at a lobby with 6 players in it.
We are Crapo.
Who's your favorite player, Pulse?
Ooh, that's a difficult one. I'm interested in the Vitality lineup, and specifically Shook, because all of this lineup is very consistent looking. You have a lot of synergy already there, like Hyanan, like Kasing, and then Shook for me is like the wild card. Like, what can he do in this lineup? Because if he shows up, then you have an extremely strong team.
Yeah, if Shook can win or if the teammates can win the respect of Shook, I think, and which they can, because they're all mechanically gifted players. Shook as a person seems to respond very well to very mechanically proficient players, and I think in Nuktuk, in Kasing, in Kabashard, even Hyaran, he has that, so he should be able to fit well in that Vitality lineup, especially with some of the coaching staff that they've gathered for themselves. I think Shook should be able to grow into a strong jungler this split.
Yeah, I think so too. And also looking at the bot lane, we already just mentioned it, the synergy between Hyanan and Kasing have been together for a long time and specifically wanted to carry on playing with each other. We've seen how strong Kasing is by himself as well when we even saw him in like All-Stars, for example. Even when you just paired him with the likes of Huni, even though they played Lee Sin and had that City Tandem mode game, it was still amazing to see the synergy he can build with another player. And the fact that he decided to stay with Hyanan says
says a lot, because Kasing had a wealth of offers overall here. Coming into the split, he even had a short stint there on TSM, but he did choose to go back with Hyanan into this new lineup with an incredibly high skill ceiling overall. Maybe the first week it won't work that well because of the macro play might not just be there yet, but we've seen from a lot of teams so far, they just carried over what worked in summer and did it quicker. Kasing should be able to do that same, but in terms of raw talent, the ceiling is just so high for Vitality.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they were saying on the analyst desk as well. But hopping over to the side of Roccat, this is a completely untried and untested lineup, like we were saying at the very start of the day. These are all new players to this team and playing with each other.
Yeah, Roccat came out as an organization saying that they signed back, I believe it was their mid laner, so that they signed Nuktak, Jankos, and Vander. That's a statement they made open in the public. None of them are there anymore. Right now, this lineup, without sounding too harsh, it seems like when you open the fridge when you're hungry and there's nothing to eat, so you close it again and you go in with lower expectations. That's kind of the roster they drafted together. All players that kind of have to prove themselves again. They can potentially, but a lot of question marks on the side of Roccat.
Oh yeah, a lot of question marks. But we are finally into Champion Select, so let's take a look at some of these champions that are being banned out. Kindred still remaining 100% ban rate, so is Gangplank. Fiora also being banned away here along with Tam Kench and Lissandra.
The team's ready to go in. Lulu may well be the last ban, we'll see. Potentially first pick here for Vitality.
Yeah, Lulu has been banned in every single game so far, so has been residing on the bench. But Olaf will be the final ban, so Lulu is going to remain up. Olaf, we saw Gamsu go ham earlier in the day. Can see what that pick can do. Going to keep them away from Kabashard.
So likely now Kabashard and Nuktuk are arguing. You play Lulu? I don't want to play that. That's boring. I want to carry. So we may actually not
don't mention me, man. All right.
Don't make a sound.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah, Nuktuk probably not going to want to play Lulu in this game. But what do they have in terms of priority? Lulu would be the obvious one.
It would be, but you may just have two players here that don't want to play that champion and want to play something else.
Yeah.
See how much the coach can
go and Shook. I'm sure it's viable in jungle. Yeah, there we go.
Has to be locked into them.
Yeah, has to go in, and they can decide where it goes later because it is a fantastic flex.
Yeah. We usually see like Lucian Poppy come out here as a response. Poppy being the blocker to Kalista, blocker to the Corki, and then the Lucian being the strongest AD carry. That is something we could see come out. Maybe Edward hasn't put in much time on the Poppy though. Then it's likely that we may even see a Trundle being picked up early for a flex.
Yeah, Trundle's still open. We've seen how strong Trundle is right now. Fantastic into the many tanks that are being played in top lane as well as jungle. Still away all those resistances and just really, really annoying. In general, a fantastic pillar placement can also turn the tide of a fight.
Yeah, suits Freddy's playstyle too. We are on 6.1 though, so the pillar is slightly more expensive mana cost wise. So you may run out of mana, but different approach here overall from the Roccat team.
Yeah, picking up the Corki here for AD carry. Again, it could be mid lane. We've seen it before. Rek'Sai coming in and probably will be in that jungle role. I still want to see some mad plays coming in from Corki using the package. We didn't really see too much from
I love
Given,
the
but
package, dude.
yeah, it really throws me off with like timers as well, because it's just like, you know, it's gone level 6, and it's just like, oh, Corki's back in my lane.
Yeah, once people are used to the new Corki, which these LCS pro players may very well be, it kind of loses some of its efficiency. We saw earlier in Giants, the second package gets picked up. Ping, 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 get the hell out of there, because if you're not used to it, Corki bases, you expect him to be back in roughly like, what, 40 seconds? He's back in 20, storming into your lane, killing you. So definitely shifts the time windows.
Yeah, and honestly, like the damage you get as well is absurd. It's just like an equalizer. I mean, yes, you have to jump into the enemy team, but then you get the Valkyrie anyway. So still very strong. Looking at the next 2 pickups coming in from Vitality, instantly locked in here will be Elise and Thresh. So not too much has changed there down in the support role. At least not going to be seeing Poppy from this team.
Yeah.
But Elise once again remaining strong in the jungle.
Thresh being picked up here. Peculiar, I think they. Is this the first Thresh we've seen today? May very well be, because we've seen so much Trundle. Trundle and Poppy both have been 100% pick banned so far, and likely one of them will fall through the gaps right now.
Yeah, we saw it in Elements G2. Yeah, Elements picked that one up, so we haven't seen it.
We haven't really seen it then.
No. Very true. So looking at the Rocket lineup now, 20 seconds remaining. This team's actually taking a lot of time to think about their picks as we get into this champion select. Hovering over the Taric, I've been seeing some epic top Taric cheese recently, Crapo.
Parmesan.
Yeah.
Edward has played Taric on multiple instances in both solo queue and I believe even competitive LCS, so really?
Yes,
yeah.
boys. All right, so Taric has been locked in along with the Rise, but you're more boring than Taric. Let's take a look at this champion. Could be in support, like you mentioned. It was actually picked into Callista, if memory serves, because you just point and click, and it's like, you can hop away if you want, but I'm still going to stun you.
Yeah, definitely. Taric usually more of a 4 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10 with Rise.
So perfect.
Overall, but I don't know, man. Convince me, Edward. Change my opinion, or Freddy, whoever plays the champion, but in the competitive landscape where there's so many supports viable right now, Taric was not one of them that I was expecting to be played here.
No. Again, could be that top lane cheese, but I'll get into that if that actually happens. And then just waiting on the final 2 pickups, which will be AD carry, and could be mid lane, could be anywhere actually, because Lulu is still on the board as the flex from Vitality.
Yeah, you're waiting to open that dark corner of your mind where you're stashed away the
My balance, yeah.
Don't let me go there. Tristana and Kennen locked in here, so Tristana AD carry, first support, really strong lane overall. Lulu either top mid with Kennen. Vitality risky though, if they fall behind with this lineup, no tanks, really squishy, they can get snowballed upon, especially if that Taric gets ahead and picks a target.
Yeah, especially if you hit the dazzle on, which is the stun onto Kennen, like he has to either go into his Zhonya's or make a decision, and that's actually really annoying for Kennen because he has to go in, or depending on how he plays, can sit defensive on the Tristana. But we'll see how it goes. As you mentioned, very reliant on doing well and not falling behind with this composition. One more pick remaining for the Rocket lineup. What's it gonna be? Oh, yeah. Is this a sign of things to come here, Crapo? Hype intensifies.
I'm doing my Sona cosplay, just staying mute for a while. I'm out of answers here.
Oh, I'm so ready. 3 seconds remaining. No. Okay, so it's going to be the Zac lock-in. Seeing Zac coming back into the meta right now, that doesn't mean that Taric is not going to be top yet.
Well, it's likely going to be Zac top, no? Rek'Sai jungle?
Either way, it's going to be good.
Anyway, it's going to be some Parmesan sprinkled on this champ select overall. The cheese coming out from Freddy. Zac top, haven't seen. Zac really strong in the jungle right now. I'm a big fan of Zac jungle because with limited vision, he can create some really unique gang paths that are almost not counterable. Top lane, we'll see a lot of roams maybe. Freddy push out top or abandon top and go mid. But yeah, interesting to say the least from this new Rocket.
Yeah, Freddy was very vocal about wanting to change things up and you know how he didn't really feel he was doing that well on previous teams, and he's definitely changing up now with Zac top, so we'll see how this works into Kennen as well. We'll have to break that down in a little bit, but I think it'll be quite difficult to do.
Yeah, very magic heavy damage composition. The only really pure physical damage dealer on the side of Rocket is the Rek'Sai, since Corki is pretty much mixed 50-50. Maybe they just want to set up for a siege? Not really. Rise doesn't really fit into that. Some zone from the Zac leap, poke from Corki, but then you walk into wave clear from Leauge, so that's not really going to work. I'll just let the game explain this one.
Yeah, it's very much the pick and mix composition here, Crapo, but make sure to join the discussion over on Twitter using those hashtags, hashtag VITWin and hashtag RocketWin, as we will be getting into this game, the final game of the day to open up the LCS.
So yeah, this will be the third time we see the Taric here in recent games. Let me move over the screen. Here we are. There we are again. Edward played it twice in summer. He's playing it again right now. Looking to boost those Taric stats up a little bit. Interesting. With exhaust though.
What interesting is this pause?
A real man would have gone Ignite, but Edward opted for the exhaust.
Yeah, so playing more defensive, I mean, it kind of makes sense here. Want to get time for the Ryze to scale up. I don't really know where the power spikes are going to come in for the Zac. It seems like more of like a mid-game pick, but it just depends on how Freddy builds as well, if he's going to go full AP and be super toxic.
Zac's just a very big nuisance, really, in the late game. His mid-game, his damage spike is definitely in the mid-game when he relies a lot on the base damages and a little bit of the magic penetration he gets. I've seen Zac tops get an early haunting guys with sword magic pen shoes to really get snowball. If not, they can just go tanky and just be incredibly annoying. So Zac has the opportunity here to really cancel out Caboshart's effect in team fights. He can mess with Yarnan too. There is a lot of cancel though. If they have plenty of vision or even blue trinkets to scout out where the Zac is leaping from, a Flay interrupts it, a Hex can interrupt it, Wild Growth can interrupt the leap. You have Yarn's ultimate that can interrupt the leap, so you have plenty of counterplay on the side of Vitality to deal with that Zac. But when everybody's looking at the Zac, that's maybe when Betsy wants to strike and start hard carrying these teamfights on the Ryze.
Yeah, quick update. Betsy does have some resolution problems with his PC, so just getting that fixed up, and hopefully we can get that going very shortly. But yeah, jumping back into the picks as well, Kennen being picked up back top as well. You can see him going for Doran's Blade, which is very standard just for the auto attack harass in lane.
We saw it from Atom earlier, but it didn't really work out, mostly due to the lane swap. His teleports were, yes, they were good, and yes, they forced some summoners, but with Kennen, when you're behind, you need to force some kills, because otherwise the teleport is wasted. It's a pretty much of a shotgun pick in the mid lane. You need to really one blast, one TP, one chance. If you take it, it's good. If you let it slip, not so much. But Cabochard, he could actually bully that lane. Has to be rough for Zac. I don't really know the way how Zac's ever going to win that lane. Maybe just through sustaining, through the auto attack harass, picking up the blobs over and over, because Cabochard should never really get jumped on, and when he does, he can insta-proc the stun and walk away.
Yeah, but in the top lane at the same time, it's going to be hard to kill the Zac because of his passive, and he just sits underneath turret, and you can't really finish him off. Smite is kind of good if they get in that situation, plus Elise can die fairly easily.
Yeah, and he has to be careful too, because Kennen usually as a pick is very hard to gank. A lot of people avoid the Kennen obviously because of the Lightning Rush, he can avoid the ganks. But if you look at the gap close potential between Airwalks with his tunnels and then Flash and Burrow, combined with Zac Leap, Cabochard will have to play safely at a reasonable distance.
Okay, we should be unpausing here very soon, but I also want to jump back onto the Taric pickup, because that's a very interesting one coming in here. Picked into the Tristana. I'm just wondering, is there a theory that you click Dazzle before she rocket jumps, or what is the idea here? Well, either way, we are getting into game once again, finally. Hopefully no more pauses.
So, for people that haven't played much Taric, his stun duration, as a crowd chance, just gonna leave some moment there. His stun duration used to scale depending on the travel time of the Dazzle, no longer does. It's only the damage that varies, so it's always the same amount of stun. Usually, you can buffer out of the Dazzle with your stunless jump, so I don't think it doesn't cancel it at all, so Yarnan should be safe. It just sets up for a very easy Q from Corki in the lane, though. That it does. So it facilitates poke, it's lockdown, you can Dazzle into Snare from Betsy, or Dazzle into a tunnel from Airwax, Dazzle into a setup from Freddy, so a lot of dazzling plays can be made. But generally, when you walk up to use that spell, you can also just get popped immediately.
Yeah, and instantly that ward cleared away, so kind of will be losing that one. But yeah, again, with Taric, if he gets on top of you, Kappa, he will be able to do a lot of damage. Actually does way more than you really think he will. With Ultimate and Shatter, it's actually a lot of burst. So combined with Corki, yes, there's a lot of magic damage, but the fact he's got Shred on top of Saphir's Shred is just Shred on top of Shred.
Yeah, but once that ultimate comes online, Yarnan obviously has self-peel available with his own ultimate, and Kassin can always Flay and box, so that's the problem with Taric. He's very easily kited, and he only has 1 CC. He does stun that Krug incredibly well. Right now, Nuktok and Betsy fighting in the mid lane. So we see a lane swap being initiated here by Roccat. Roaming, he does well though. If he can show up in the lane and Dazzle, generally focuses well.
Yeah, likewise with Zac as well, a lot of roaming potential. I think Kassin just stole that as well, so that might upset some of the The experience that Airwax is going to get here, Freddy, I believe, got some as well, so that was okay, and they will go to the second camp. So not too much disruption from Kissing there.
Yep, we need to see how Vitality's jungle pathing gets affected here. So they take 2 camps while initiating lane swap. That's very good, honestly, from Rocket. So Vitality wasn't really ready for that lane swap. A lot of camps available right now. Whereas if you look at the other side, only Wolves went down, so there's a camp advantage for Vitality, but they can't, for Rocket rather, but they can't really use it too much in a double jungling sense because of the experience changes. You really want your jungler to be solo jungler to get the maximum benefit of those camps.
Well, it looks like we're going to get that fast push down in the bottom lane. Cabochard will be joining Hyana and Kasing to take this one down. Second minion wave is coming in, should arrive before that one dies, so they should be able to keep up the damage. And yeah, Tristan's also got E as well, so should be able to put that down fairly quickly.
Whereas in the old lane swap meta, you were fine with potentially sending your top laner back to double jungler. I think right now you always want to bounce the wave to your top laner to keep him in the game.
Yeah, and that seems to be what they're doing right here. Bottom lane is dying way faster, but also drawing Airwax up there, so it's going to be a 4-man push coming in from Raka versus the 3 down in bottom lane. Chuck is actually just picking up the skull very early on into this game. These towers should be falling at around the same time. And mid lane doesn't really do anything in lane swap, so just chilling.
I mean, it's good for the Rise. Free farming, he gets harassed a little bit, but obviously when both junglers reveal themselves, it's a lot easier to farm. Shook hasn't revealed himself, so maybe Betsy has to be a little careful. He's pushing up. He has the cleanse available to dodge out of the cocoon though. Hopefully Vitality has spotted that, so they don't set up any crazy flashes to chase after him.
Yep, towers dropping, and did you see, I think Freddy just there got all of the gold just from that tower. It looked like everyone backed off from Rocket, so just helping him a little more there. And additionally, the wave is in the right place. That should push towards him. Yeah, that wave is set up.
Lawrence can get some experience. He's soaking a little bit, not pushing the wave back before basing though, so he still stays there on level 2. Gonna keep track of the experience. Freddy is about 2.5. Cabochard is already level 3 right now, so experience advantage for Cabochard. He did it slightly different, whereas usually you get the wave bounced to you and you freeze it. The evolution of that was actually just insta pushing it out because people will react to your freeze and outplaying that way. So Cabochard, small experience lead, and he bases again, and he goes to the top to do the standard lane swap meta right now where both towers on each side fall.
Yeah, already specking into magic resist as well. Looking at the team of Rocket, you mentioned the champions like Crepo, so much magic damage on this team. Picking up an early Negatron just to start getting that up will help him a bunch. Hyana and Kasing now pushing in this top turret with Shook and Cabochard in tow, but Airwax is coming up, so it will be a 3 versus 4 if we get into this fight. AoE damage coming in from an explosive charge on the tower, and now the push comes in. A little bit of wave clear from Sophia, but Edward doesn't really do much to in this situation. Airwax doesn't really clear either.
Yeah, but there's no dive here coming out ever from Vitality because obviously Freddy still has teleport available. He is now pushing out the bot lane, so Rocket with a good 3-man defend on what traditionally used to be an extra tower swap here. They're adapting here, doing a 3-man defend in phase 2 of the lane swap, and that gets Freddy ahead. Cabochard will likely teleport down to the bot lane or walk there right away right now to pick up the massive wave that Freddy's building right now. So nobody really getting punished. I still think Vitality overall will pull ahead of this lane swap, especially if you consider the time that Shook has spent alone compared to Airwax.
Looks like the latter here as Cabochard is walking down to that bottom lane, still holding on to that teleport just in case there's a cross-map play. Just holding that up, and plus the wave is slowly pushing towards him, so he doesn't need to get there immediately.
Yeah, and you can see how Thunderlords really makes Lulu mid even better than it used to be. Those short EQ auto trades now actually proc Thunderlords every single time, and makes it hard for Betsy to fight back.
Yeah, still farming away. They're only 4 CS behind his opponent, so he's not doing that badly, and the minion wave is pushing into him, so as soon as that resolves, he should be fairly even, and Betsy should get to the stage in the game he wants to be as Rise, the machine gun caster, and then yeah, Kasing and Hyana just flipping up, so we're now in Australia land.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the junglers to make a move right now. Very, very even early game. The only thing we've seen really is pressure exchange. Initially, Betsy was pushing mid. Now Nuketuck is keeping him down by pressuring in. What can the junglers achieve with the state of these lanes? Where can they break a mold open and finally get one of their teams ahead?
Yeah, Cabochard right now, not really open to a gank. Top lane, fairly difficult to gank as well. If anything, Rocket could maybe head up there with Airwax, but still, the Rocket Jump and Kasing just being able to flay back is very difficult to get into. These lanes are fairly just stale in terms of trading and also what the junglers can do. Invade coming in here by Airwax, just getting some deep vision. That's all he can really do right now, trying to track the enemy.
Both these teams have an incredibly good mid game, with at least one late game insurance on every team. So the late game insurance for Vitality is obviously the protected Tristana composition, having Healing Twist with a lot of peel from Cabochard. Dazzle comes out from Edward, Hyana jumps out, that is textbook gameplay. Whereas Roccat, their late game insurance is just Betsy, so we need to keep him alive if you're Roccat.
And right now, Betsy is going to take this blue buff. Has gone for the tier already, building towards the Kappas, which is traditionally the core for Rice. Is on his way towards that. Has been revealed as well as he heads back into the mid lane. Shuck coming into the bottom lane now, just seeing if he can get anything off, but doesn't look to be the case.
A sole single clap crowd.
Well, he got the transfer we've seen before. It doesn't always go well.
Yep, they totally mechanically execute that blue buff. We've seen some failure here.
Well, Nuto still farming minions.
Yeah, nothing will happen here until the side stones come out, guys. I know it's a little boring, but that's just the state of the game right now. There's very little kind of play. People are respecting the junglers. Most gankable lanes have gap closers. There's a lot of respect going on. Both of these teams are fine going into the mid game. They're waiting in. So once the side stones come out, the pink wards come out, and the red trinkets come out, that's when we can see more vision denial, and we can see some plays being made. Roccat about to be sieged on though. Vitality sent their top lane duo to the bot lane, joining Cabashark and this massive wave.
Yeah, so Vitality actually trying to open up a gap in the armor here. The bottom lane is being sieged in. Large cast a minion wave as well. Airwax is only now arriving into the bottom lane. Good chunk onto the tower, but not going to take it down today, as Betsy is also in a good position to close in if they wanted to. Additionally, with the entire Roccat lineup being bot lane, now have to head back. Someone needs to go into the top lane from Vitality, so someone's going to recall, and maybe Hyonin to pick up that wave.
Rocket's pulled ahead 700 gold overall. That has to come from CS somewhere. It's a 15 CS advantage overall here on the Porky.
Yeah, I wonder how much that will close when that minion wave's taken in the top.
Yeah.
Because that's like 3-4 minion waves there. Airwax actually coming in here, does get the steal off. Shuck is taking a bunch of damage, being chased down. And Zephyr coming in with the package as well, jumping along with the Valkyrie, jumps away to the minions, just trying to farm before he goes down. Shuck will be the first blood of the game.
Yeah, special delivery into Valkyrie. Zephyr following up. Really good play here, really good use of the package. Maybe the first early game usage of the package that we've seen that really resulted in a game-breaking or game-opening kill, because now he can capture the bottom lane. That tower is under siege, and Freddy can then port back to the top lane. He'll need some assistance though, because we're seeing a 4-man siege being set up again by Vitality. They seem to really like strength in numbers for those sieges.
Yeah, the bot lane should be going down here, so small advantage over to Roccat additionally with that kill. And see if they can push that into anything else, but it's really interesting because Nutok was also talking about this lineup from Roccat and saying that he actually thinks this lineup is much better than people are really giving them credit for, because even we were looking at this lineup and saying, well, are they the losers of the off-season? Looking at Vitality, looking at HGK, how many good members they picked up. So far, Roccat actually in the lead in this game.
You could have argued whether it was worth it to sing the flash play there, but they obviously didn't know what the backup that was coming, and their goal was a tower, so Freddy essentially just wasted his teleport.
He is here for the farm, however, but this is pushing away from him. Edward there as well. And now we should see Vitality backing off. Shuck is just in the river, still farming away. Has gone for the Balmy Cinder, though. Just looking for the Cinderhawk build. Before we saw Elise pick up the Rylai's as well. So we'll see if Shuck does something similar. Edward now heading down this river. And see if he rushes Sightstones as well. Aster, when should you rush Sightstone, Trevor?
Always.
Always.
In loving memory.
So we see Airwax now coming onto this crab. See if they go for the first dragon as well. Players are typically seeing the first dragon as one of the bigger objectives to take, and then after that it's very difficult to go for a 5-dragon win.
Yep.
The first one is important because of the percent damage you get from it, but then the rest don't do a whole lot for you.
Yeah,
there is an exit objective.
If you can pick it up along the way, you can go for second dragon, and then the third has some value in terms of movement speed, but honestly, dragon has very low priority. The only value is maybe denying your opponent to get his first. Once both teams sit on a first dragon already, there's no value in playing on the dragon. You may as well start sieging. Vision is even more important, or just setting up phase 2, like setting phase 1 of a 2-step play, more important than getting the dragon right now.
Yeah, for sure. Saphir down here, in terms of vision, they were cutting it off just from Edward maybe coming in from the side. And Airwax was thinking of going into the bot lane, but actually doesn't do that. Vitality ahead, 60 to 40%. Still not as big a disparity as I was actually thinking coming into this matchup.
Yeah, but looking at the way Rocket's taking this game, Vitality seem to be trying to force a lot of moves. Like, they're constantly grouping and sieging, but Rocket is fine, comfortably sitting back and actually getting a gold lead by not breaking where the pressure is being placed by Vitality. And overall, 2,000 gold ahead right now, even with the first blood. First blood only amounts to maybe 600 gold if you take kill and assisting, so ironically here, or unexpected rather, the better macro gameplay from Rocket.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing. It's macro gameplay. There's been no real like skirmishes and who edged ahead in terms of mechanics. It's literally just been on the macro game, and Rockat's the one coming out ahead with these players.
And the first Moby boots I think we've seen today on support. Kasing not opting for the boots of swiftness, so he will go down to boots 1 speed in combat.
Yeah, decides not to get Swifty in this one. Kasing coming into the mid lane with Nuke Duck. And just farming away, and I really think you just hit the nail on the head. Both of these teams are licking to get into the mid game here, Crepo. Along with Rise as well, just want to scale up, and as a result, they're quite happy to farm away, and you can see that resulting in the farm in the mid lane. Nuke Duck literally has hit basically every minion, 127 right now to Betsy's 120.
Yeah.
They've done nothing but farm.
They're playing PvE right now, obviously into the Rise's favor. I mean, getting a little quicker into the mid game is nice, but Rocket right now hitting a Triforce spike already on Saphir. He's pushing, and it becomes a game of minion wave control right now, because all the rotations that you could potentially set up for yourself to get the side lane tower and then force people to make mistakes, you can't do because the side lane towers are gone. So it's very weird to play such an early open map. You almost have to go back to the stages of the 4v0 double tower lane swap meta back in, I believe, last year in spring, before we even see such a big map right now. And because you have so little wards, it's so hard to really get the vision game going. So Vitality struggling a little bit in this new meta.
Well, from all the gold and all the farming that's been happening, it means they're getting to item spikes a little bit faster. The Abyssal Scepter has been picked up, that hook going just wide of Edward.
Maybe it's just the zone from Tarek. Maybe that's just it. That's the answer.
Yeah, the threat alone from Tarek engaging on you, man. Vitality just don't want to go for the play. And in top lane, don't get that tower either. Reminder, the package is available for Saphir if he wants to make another play. The first one went actually very well. Take a look at this as well. Herald now being picked up. Don't see that every single game. It's more of an exit objective like Dragon right now. It's like if you take an objective, you can go for Herald, or you get a kill, you can go for Herald if you just have spare time.
In an open split push scenario, it's good to do, because the minions obviously they gain more attack speed overall. They look like they get buffed like the Baron buff, but remember the magic resistance doesn't go up, so using Herald to siege down mid doesn't work, because magic-based wave clearers will still shred them apart.
Yeah, attack speed increased by 40%, but no resistances. Additionally, it does give you 10% extra damage. So for a split pusher, it's actually pretty sick, because you can go for those 1v1s and know that you're probably going to win, even in matchups that typically don't win. But in this game, this is going to be buffing a couple minions.
Let's see, Saphir, is he going to pick up the package? That's the one question we're asking ourselves here.
Yeah.
Observers, to the base.
Track Saphir.
Yep.
Oh,
there we go.
We're off into the top lane. It's a bomb.
I love the fact that you can package and then Valkyrie again. A lot of people forget that. Even though Valkyrie is horribly short right now, many people fail even wall jumps because it's 600 range, I believe it's reduced to. Saphir in the top lane. It actually allows him to push on the tier 2 tower safely, because nobody can stop him. He can shoot you out of there and get back to the top side of the map. He's basing right now, puts in a big wave in the top lane. That means if somebody from Vitality responds, the rest of the map gets played 5v4. Siege in the bot lane.
The rivers will run red.
We may see a big fight here with the package, with the Zac lead. Keep your eyes on it.
Well, Betsy coming in, Cabochard taking a lot of chunk damage. He doesn't have Zonis just yet, but Hanan is there to fight him. Alex coming over the wall, has been hooked in by Kasing, joins the rest of his team, but he's getting chunked down by Betsy. And Airwag picks up the kill there. Nuke Duck now having to back off into the river, and it's now Vitality on the run. 2 kills go down.
Another setup siege from Vitality, where they group up with 4 or 5 members to take a tower, thwarted by Rocket. They saw it coming. Saphir based immediately, get a good 2-man package right there. Betsy flying from the side, he took out Cabochard. I believe his cleanse was prematurely, this is why he did not get out of the cannon stunlock, but overall, another kill, another dragon here for Rocket, another red buff steal, and maybe even the mid lane tower. Rocket playing fantastic.
Yeah, and Betsy's found Nuke Duck in the middle lane as well. Will flash away, but gets him with a final overload. Saphir just chiming in there with a couple autos. Betsy's looking down basically by himself, sitting happily on his Rod of Ages. 1-0 over to Betsy.
Jesus. Rocket surprising many people, including myself. I really regret that comment I made in the opening of the game. It's karma.
It is.
It's the second time it happened.
I'm gonna take a look at that team fight again though. Cabochard getting picked out by Betsy.
Yeah, Cabochard here stuns. Betsy, cleanse didn't really affect that much. Maybe it wasn't. No, it wasn't already in cooldown. Look at the damage from the package here. Shook's burning. Singh gets out, Airwax flashes after him. 2 kills, I believe, in total. So 2 kills, a dragon, a mid tower, another kill in the mid lane, making it 3. So overall, Rocket getting farther ahead.
Yeah, Cavashard now just kind of wandering around, just losing ground all over the board. If you take a look at the vision control as well by Rocket, starting to push into the jungle with Vitality as well.
Should have known though. I trash talked Edward once, this back in Season 2 before LCS even existed, and I got my my behind handed to me, completely got smashed. Did it again now in the pre-game.
It's a curse, man.
Happened again, TLDR. Shut up, Cripple.
Well, you can take a look at the coaches there, just taking a look at this game, analyzing it from backstage. And this is very much a macro-based game. Like, there's a couple team fights that have happened, but it's all really been about the map movements, about what the players are deciding to do on the board, and how they're reacting to the opposing team.
And every single kill has originated from the new Corki package. You can't forget that. That invade, Airwax finds Shook, Smite steals, that should have just been a steal, but because of the amazing gap close potential that the new Corki Valkyrie, or the buff Valkyrie, gives you, they got a kill right down in the bottom. The package combined with Zac, 2 major leaps there. Set up for some other kills. Now can Rocket expand on this? Because Rocket as an organization, obviously there's no players remaining and the coaching staff has not entirely changed, so the point doesn't really hold, but we've seen them get ahead, but then do absolutely nothing in the mid game. Have they learned how to snowball their lead, which is very important in this.
Trickling progress.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
My cup is half empty.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
A harvest moon, so aptly named.
Minions have spawned.
Wonderful. A dream exercise. Let's pool our efforts. absolutely livid. You look like someone who's got a lot going on beneath the surface. The clot thickens.
First love.
Please, let it all out.
An ally has been slain.
I'd love a pint. I'm a universal recipient. A vital decision. The clot thickens. Please, let it all I'm absolutely livid. Care to make a donation? Let's pool our efforts.
has been slain. An ally has been slain.
My cup is half empty.